you don't have to teach love somebody, and love will teach you. Right? So that's the same idea, that like you don't need to change yourself. If you love somebody, or somebody truly loves you, you will naturally evolve and like naturally change, right? Like you don't have to fundamentally change yourself to be worthy of love. And people will do this with anything, right? This is like the idea of making something your god, right? Like people will make money their god, and they'll say, like, well, when I have enough money, I'll do XYZ for myself, right? Versus you have to reverse that and say, I'm going to do XYZ for myself, the money will come.
Exactly.
Same thing is true with love, right?
Actually really want to start off with highlighting what just happened before we started this conversation.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful. We've created a setup here in this lovely cozy room, and we just really had to work with what we had around us.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a beautiful question in the sense of what to...
Yeah, this literally comes up for me all the time. Like this came up for me this morning when we were, and I oftentimes feel like this is going to sound really interesting, but when I'm starting or going to be merging my reality with somebody else's reality, I will get these like bumps and bumps and bumps until the reality is merged completely. And then it's like smooth, but it's like almost like getting there. Like you live in a different place than I live. And I don't mean physically, I mean like energetically, right? So then getting to that point where you can merge those two things is always for me, like, especially if I'm doing like a one-on-one call or something, like I'll have like this and that and this and this and these weird things that come up. And then to get there is like a mission. But then once I'm there, it's like, oh, okay, this was perfect. This was fine. But for this, the question was, okay, well, what is that? What is that? Why is that coming up? Why is there this thing's going wrong and this thing's going wrong, and there's all these conditions?
Yeah.
And what do you think about that?
So for me, playfulness came up, and it is, I almost see it as when you find resistance, often our first reaction is to feel this harshness that just comes in the sense of, oof, okay, it's not working, as if you're hitting wall after wall. But often, if you start to see it as a playful situation, in the sense of, oh, okay, so this is happening, so let's see how we can work with it. And I always imagine almost like a Tai Chi movement, like energy is coming towards you and you're working with it and you're just sending it out. So this is a very great and fun start. It's become a very fun start.
But you also, so that's actually a really good point, but you also have to make that shift within yourself first, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Like, because if you address it as you said, like this is going wrong, or this is not working, or this is coming up and this is coming up, then again, like this like attracts like, right? So you're going to get more of that resistance if you view it as resistance.
Exactly.
But if you view it as playfulness, then you're like, okay, cool. If I can shift myself into how can I make this more fun, or how can I make this, a joyful situation, then you're going to get more of that, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
It's actually really cool to watch you do it, like, in the moment. Like, that's really cool. Because it is exactly as you said, like, this Tai Chi movement where something's coming at you and you are completely alchemizing it on the spot. Correct. And then, like, giving it back in a different way, which is really cool.
So that is just a beautiful experience of, like, literally you shift. If you shift your reality within yourself, you can really... decide what you focus on, and with that also how you work with it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited, Serena. Thank you for having me here today.
What a way to start.
What a way to start. It is a lovely way of perceiving reality. Nice. So, how are you doing today? How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling like really a lot of opportunity. I was having this feeling as we were putting up this, backdrop, these curtains, these things. I was actually having a flashback of when I was in high school and I had a best friend, and her and I would go take a camera and we would go out in nature and we would do these like photo shoots, and we would like make photo shoots together. And so I was having this real like kind of childhood moment as we were doing this, that I was like, ooh, I get to do that again. Like I get to meet up with a friend. I get to do things that are exciting to me, and it is joyful and it is playful, you know, and I get to like create this thing that we're now creating together. So that actually lit something in me. Just knowing that this was going to happen today was like, ooh, I get to play again, you know, like I get to do that kind of stuff again, which is really exciting to me. So, yeah.
I think it is such an important note to just tap into. That is the beautiful inner child that really wants to see the light, and it is not taking everything too serious, really just flowing with the things. And that is the beauty. If you look at Jonathan, my almost 8-year-old son, he will see the world through his beautiful, like, child eyes, and he will see things in objects that we almost forget to look at from that perspective, because suddenly all these beautiful magical things arise, and we get stuck into the whole flow of, yeah, okay, it is not flowing, it is working against me. But if you just start to look at it again from like almost this, just tap into that inner magic, because you have it within you. So I really want to highlight today and to congratulate you today for the fact that you have your product up and running and live. And that is so amazing, because you have worked super hard to get to this point. So
amazing.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah.
Please do.
Well, so essentially, you guys, this is my biggest thing, is this experience of love, right? And I think for me, it's how I interpret the world a lot of ways. You know, like there's different people on the earth that are meant to interpret the world through different frequencies, right? And for me, I feel really connected to my innermost self and my innermost being when I'm connected to the frequency of love. And for me, that's not just, you know, with another person, that's like deeply within myself. And that's like, how can I intentionally embody that in every decision that I make, right? In the foods that I put in my body, in the time that I'm spending, in how I'm interacting with other people, in how I'm interacting with my family at home, you know? And so becoming that love from within and acting and presenting myself in a way that is that highest frequency. Now, obviously, I don't get it right all the time. Doesn't happen all the time.
That is fine.
But that's what I'm always striving for, is how do I create that biggest amount of love within myself? And that's how I've gotten to this point. You know, this is how I believe you can really only manifest things from loving yourself more, right? Because there's this whole idea of like, we don't actually manifest, we create limitations. And so manifesting then is this idea of, you know, destroying those limitations with love, right? I didn't think I was worthy of having a partner that supported me, that loved me literally exactly for who I was. I really thought I was fundamentally broken and I needed to change something about myself in order to be worthy of love. And it was until that point that I actually met him that it shifted everything for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody can love me for the more introverted, soft, delicate, emotional person that I am, and not tell me I'm too much, not tell me I'm too sensitive, not tell me I'm, you know, overwhelming in terms of like my emotions and what I'm capable of. And so the course that I created, which is an online video course, was created from that space for people that feel like they need to fundamentally change themselves, or they're not worthy of love, or maybe love isn't in the cards for. I can't tell you how many times I've received messages or people saying like, I just don't know. Even my previous partner said this to me. I just don't know if love is in the cards for me this lifetime. And yes, we are all working on different things. But that belief alone keeps love from you, you know, like that question of, am I worthy of having this person in my life to unconditionally support me? And the things you can create in life when you have a partner that is that way is unmatched. Like, I spent in previous relationships, like I would say 80% of my energy fighting this other person, rather than when you have that peace and harmony within a relationship, then you have this burst of energy. Everything opens up for you, and you're finally able to actually create the passion projects that you want to create. You're able to have the kids that you want to have. You're able to, literally create your dream life from scratch, like as we're sitting in a house that my partner literally built from nothing. And you have the energy to create all these beautiful things because there's harmony in your relationships. So that is my gift that I want to help give to other people, is that ability to create what you want to create because you've done the work on yourself, because you understand you are worthy for what you want to have, you are worthy to create those things, and to receive them also. So the product that I have is an online repair course for relationships, and it literally takes you through the subconscious blocks that anybody's going to come up against in their quest to love. So it has to do with all doing the work inside first, because it's always inside out. If you see the change out in your reality, that's because you've changed it within inside first. So yeah, I'm really excited to offer that for the listeners, for the audience.
Nice.
Yeah.
A thing that I really want to bring up, because I find it so beautiful listening to you, and that is something that has to be said, because I know James, your partner, of course, already for quite a while, and it was quite interesting to experience the shift, because when I met him, he was extremely broken from his previous relationship, and it was very beautiful, because I just came out of my marriage, and we found in that sense each other, and we built like such a beautiful foundation on a friendship. But then to see him to go through that whole process of meeting you, and to see how he actually found himself again by meeting you, and just how that flow of you two like getting together, from him leaving this area where we live to a completely far out, nowhere to be found backpacker's place where he decided to give surfing lessons, and where his beautiful twin flame just arrives. Absolutely unavailable, but available for him.
Yeah.
So it has been a privilege to see your relationship developing within that, and I think also that you can truly speak from experience to see how you have found yourself again, how he has found himself again by this union that you two have created, and that is now, wow, this beautiful marriage, and you both are amazing parents to Claire. So that is a very, a beautiful thing that you can then translate into this product, into this course that you
100%
can help people find themselves also again.
Yes. Well, and that is the thing, right? Is like finding yourself again and falling in love with yourself again. Because nobody is going to give you the love that you aren't giving yourself. And I find this within our relationship all the time, because he is so loving and he is so generous and he is so giving, that if I'm actually not matching what he's giving to me, then I actually am repelled by him, because I'm like, you are too much, you're doing too much. Like, there's a part of me that if I'm not matching that love within myself, I'm not giving myself the same love that he's giving me, I will be like completely turned off by his gestures of like love and his service and his words and everything like that, because I don't feel worthy of receiving it. And so a lot of people that I work with also have these big receiving wounds. I don't feel comfortable when people help me, or I don't feel comfortable when people are giving to me, or when I'm the object of receptivity. And this also comes down to manifestation, right? Like, if
Correct.
you want to manifest
100%.
something, you have to be willing to receive it, right? Because you can work all day long to go towards it, but then if you're not willing to receive it, you're actually pushing it further away. And
Correct.
This is what people do, I think, all the time with love, is they say, oh, I want this person in my life, and they will know down to a T what exactly they want in their partner, but it's that act of not being able to receive that. We have to become the version of ourselves that is open to love, that is open to intimacy, that is open to closeness, in order for that to even come into your life.
Yes, I find that a very beautiful aspect of manifesting love in your life, an area which I find very interesting, and I noticed that with my clients, is that especially when it comes to wanting an ex-pack or like wanting a specific person in their life, is that they put certain brackets or ideas on what they want in life or in love, I must say. But then what they don't realize is that they haven't done the inner work. And either they are romanticizing an idea of a partner or romanticizing an idea of a type of love, but that is actually really not in line with what they either need or who they are at that stage.
Yeah.
So that is a point which I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to. And when you start to do the inner work, when you start to really work on yourself, then you really start to understand what type of love you want in your life.
Yeah.
And then only you start to realize, oh, wait, that ex-partner actually was really not good for me. Or it was really not in line with what I really want in life. So then you really start to focus on what you want in a partner and what you want to invite into your life. And then only you can really start to do that work within, and then you send out the signal to attract that desired partner.
100%. 100%. And it is easy. I mean, it's very easy to get caught up in, as you said, like, especially what I talk a lot about, which is the twin flame dynamic. There's a lot of people that will get caught up in, no, I know it's this person. I know it's this person. And a lot of times we get hung up on somebody just basically out of a rejection wound, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we got rejected by this person, or this person didn't give us the time of the day. So then there's a part of our ego and our identity that then puts them on a pedestal. You know,
the pedestal, the pedestal. That is, oh yeah, I can speak endlessly about the pedestal. But yes, please continue. Sorry.
No, and we all do it, and I've done it before, and I've done it in the last relationship that I was in. I did it so strongly that I did not notice any single red flag that was coming up with this person, because I was so busy putting them on this pedestal. And it wasn't until that I took my power back that I really realized, like, oh my God, I don't have to do this. I don't have to be this way. I'm not too much. I'm not this. I can be all of the things within myself. But I wasn't, because I was like, well, this person is clearly better than me. They're loving me, so I should just do and be what they say I should be, right? And it wasn't until I really was like, no, I love myself actually as I am. And as you said, we're just not compatible. Like, that person's fine. There's nothing wrong with them, right? And there's nothing wrong with me. We're just not compatible.
Exactly.
And so love at the end of the day it needs to be practical. Like, and this is why it's so funny, because we think of love and we think of romance and we think of all of these things, right? And it can be that also. But if you're looking for a life partner, it needs to be practical at the end of the day. You need to share some values. You need to have the same idea of the trajectory of life that you want to live. Like, that is all of that.
That is it. It is, and then taking even the practicality out of it. Basically, if you want to have a partner in life, you have to resonate with your partner.
You have to.
If you don't resonate with your partner, if you don't have the same future views, or if you don't have like that whole same sensation of the flow that you want to have in life, then you start to create a rocky road. And then it is almost unavoidable to create all the fights and all the conflicts in there. And exactly what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with that, with your partner, and there's nothing wrong with yourself, but that is just not in flow with one another. It's not in sync. Like, that is, I believe, holding on to the idea of a person that you truly want to be with because you feel, or you've convinced yourself that you have to change to be with a certain person in order that the relationship will be all right. Of course, you can always compromise. There is going to be compromises in your relationship. But if it is something that is a core value of yours that needs to change, or you have the feeling that you have to really alter yourself on a foundational level, then no.
100%. There's a quote I really like that came up while you were saying that, and it's this idea that you don't have to teach love somebody, and love will teach you. Right? So that's the same idea that, like, you don't need to change yourself. If you love somebody or somebody truly loves you, you will naturally evolve and like naturally change, right? Like you don't have to fundamentally change yourself to be worthy of love. And people will do this with anything, right? This is like the idea of making something your God, right? Like people will make money their God, and they'll say, you know, like, well, when I have enough money, I'll do XYZ for myself, right? Versus you have to reverse that and say, I'm going to do XYZ for myself, the money will come.
Exactly.
Same thing is true with love, right?
Exactly.
When I have the love, I'll start, you know, I'll quit my job and I'll do what I actually want to do. I'll go travel when I have a partner to travel with, or when I have a partner to do this with, I'll do this. And so we delay like fulfilling ourselves for this other thing, right? And we put this other thing before ourselves.
Yep.
Whereas if you put yourself first and say, well, where would I meet my partner? Maybe I would meet them in South Africa, of all places. So I'm going to travel, right? I'm going to travel to fulfill myself. And you never know when you start making decisions like that, where that's going to bring you. It will bring you to where you want to be.
Correct. Yeah, that is beautiful, because this was a very important point that I had with Marco, my partner, in the last previous conversation, and that is so two things. Either we always want to, if we want to manifest something, we actually have to manifest from that sensation of already having it, and then leading that, not only trying to like be right now and trying to, okay, that is something that I'm going to do exactly when. So if you are in the sensation of, okay, this is the love that I desire right now, and this is what feels good for me, well, this is when intuition kicks in for me, is that I am following my excitement. I'm following what I really would like to do right now, what feels good and everything in my being. And then you will see that the synchronicities will fall into place, and voila, suddenly you've created a path towards what you really want to attract into your life. Yeah. So, and then the second thing is, that is one fundamental mindset shift that you will have to do if you really want to follow your passions in life, is to ask a person, what do you truly want to do? And then they will say, yeah, I will get there when. So that is called one day I'll do it. Or you're actually, even if you can't do it right now, which is fully understandable, like some people are not able to do whatever they want right now because they still have the obstacles in place. I'm not saying just remove it and just go for it, but you can say this is day one of moving towards what you want to achieve. Yes. So I'm starting right now. I'm shifting my energy towards it, and I'm going in that direction.
Yes. Just making the declaration of it is so powerful. Just by like literally saying to yourself, I'm committing to this, that starts to already shift the energy. Because I think what we a lot of times think is that I have to have it all figured out, right? So I had the idea, and now I have to have steps A through Z figured out till the end point. And that's where people then get caught up in not taking action, because we're like, well, I don't know how. But there's also a quote that I like that says, take the first step and the path will appear before you.
Ta-da! Yeah.
And so that's literally it. So even just making the declaration, okay, this is my day one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm going to do today, but what's going to come up is going to be what I'm going to do today, right? Yeah. So like that path will appear as you make the decision, and then you take small sustainable steps in the next direction and the next direction, and then you're going to at some point feel like lost or confused, and that's just part of the journey.
Yes.
So what would you say to somebody that's in that right now, that's in the I'm lost, I'm confused, I don't know where to go next?
So that is a beautiful point of actually, first of all, trying to peel back the layers. So to completely slow down, because when we are in a momentum of I am lost, I don't know where to go, that is a script that we have repeated over and over to ourselves. And we are literally convincing ourselves that we are lost and that we don't know what to do next. So my advice would be is just to take a moment to say, okay, this is not working. I need to take a breather. There is a beautiful exercise that, funny enough, we've talked about in the Marco and myself talked about in the previous YouTube recording that we did, and it is almost like a self-hypnosis exercise. It is just the induction, but it is super simple, but it is so effective. So if you feel lost and if you feel overwhelmed, this just brings you completely back to the present. You completely get connected to your senses again, and it just helps you slow down. And from that point on, when you just start to peel those layers away and that script that you've repeated over and over to yourself, when you can find this moment of just, okay, I'm not feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm able to take deep breaths. Like if I'm actually looking around, I am not in a state of alarm. I just am disconnected. So when you just plug in again and when you reconnect to yourself, that is the moment that you can just evaluate what are the first steps that I can actively take in the direction that I want to go.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be a big step.
Yep.
Tiny little step in that direction. And that's, well, then bit by bit you can actually redirect yourself and you can generate momentum into a preferred direction.
Yeah. So what is available to me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. I often think about these moments of feeling lost, feeling confused, especially for me at this stage of life I'm in. After having a baby about 7-8 months ago, and then that in and of itself is a whole rebirth and a whole new trajectory of yourself. And so at the point I am is like I'm still learning myself right now, right? And so when you throw yourself, and obviously mothers understand this, when you throw yourself back into life and you're relearning yourself, your partner needs to relearn you, you're learning how to operate with this little being and how to be the best caregiver you can. There's a lot of like your energy's being pulled in a lot of different directions. And so for me recently, I've been feeling that way a lot. Like, okay, maybe I'm a little bit lost, maybe I'm confused. And you're exactly right. You are just disconnected because the true you and your higher self, right, always knows exactly where you are. Like it never left you.
Nope.
You're just disconnected from it. And so for me, what I like to do a lot also is, rather than asking, and I found this really interesting because I've been playing with this, but rather than asking like, okay, spirit or God or universe, I'm asking for your support, changing it to the affirmation of I am supported, I am guided, right? Because we ask for a lot of things and then we feel like we never get them, and then it also replays that story of I'm not supported or I'm not getting what I needed, right? Because we're just asking for the thing without, again, receiving it, right? And so for me then, if I'm asking anything of the universe, I'm asking for a sign that I'm on the right path, right? I'm not asking for anything from the universe because I know I'm already being provided that, but I'm asking just for some reassurance, right?
Exactly.
And then instantly I will see the number, I will see the butterfly, I will see the thing that I need to see, the green car, whatever it is, that reminds me like, okay, we
that
are.
has significance to you.
Yeah, we're in the right place.
That is one of the exercises that I like to do on my page, and that is especially when you wake up in the morning, because when you wake up you are, well, if everything is according to plan, you wake up in a peaceful mindset and hopefully don't connect straight away to the stresses of the day. But even before you open your eyes, that is a moment that you can just lay your hand on your heart and you can just sit there and just say, just like, today I want to feel supported. And don't connect to the I want. Know that you are supported. So you can say, whether it is universe, source, God, like take a moment to then dare say, I feel I'm supported, and give me a sign to know that I have you by my side. And even if you have that knowing, it is so lovely to just go into your day and even add to that, make this a beautiful day. And then just affirm, this is a beautiful day. And that's that play of words, that play of mindset, that signal that you're sending out. It really just helps to lay a foundation for a really amazing day.
Yes, it does. It completely does. And we have my partner coming in now. Hi. With a croissant.
And washing powder. Washing powder.
Thank you.
Have fun. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, no, completely. I've definitely have done that before and will continue to do that. And just to know that, and just to feel that aliveness. You know, like the fact that you open your eyes in the morning, like, okay, we have another day ahead of us. Not
Yes.
like, oh, we have another day ahead of us, but like, yes, we have got another opportunity to make today like what it needs to
Yes.
be, what we want it to be.
Yes, yes, and that is the difference between stepping in, because there are so many people out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have been one of them at any point of time, but because you are so stuck in your same old routine, that is exactly, we've spoke about this in the past, that is the predictable future.
Yep.
Because you know already what you're going to do, you know already what your day is going to look like, because same old job, same old route there, same old, same old, same old, same old. And then what you do is step into the unknown. Like, allow yourself to be spontaneous, or allow yourself to be alive, and maybe take a different route, or maybe decide to just do something that you normally wouldn't do. And there you would find, if you get that jolt inside of you, okay, let's do it now, let's do something different, and then suddenly you get this inspiration or this sign or this beautiful synchronicity that happens because you veered off your path of your predictable future.
Yes. And you know what's so interesting about that is like the way that you said it was so perfect, because you're like, oh, it's, you know, I know I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do this. And we think we know what today is going to be, right? And so it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because we think we know. But do you really know? No, you don't. You're just opening your eyes for the first time this morning. Do you really know exactly what your day's going to look like?
Exactly.
And if you think you know, then likely it will turn out that way. But if you can allow yourself to be in, I don't know, right? Or this like, today is full of possibility.
Excitement.
Yeah, joy, play. The same is true in relationships, right? Because we do this so often with each other, is we think we know what our partner or what this person in front of us is going to be saying, doing, thinking, feeling, right? And I do this with miscommunication with my partner all the time, right? And I'll be like, oh, well, did you mean this? And he'll be like, no, absolutely, I didn't mean it like that, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think I know him. I think I know. And when you think you know something, is like you're actually killing the thing. You are projecting your mind onto that thing, and you are losing the essence of the thing itself. And that is, to me, like the number one death of a relationship, is to think you know that thing.
Yeah.
Right? And to not leave space for its evolution and its change. And there's another quote that I really like is, if you like a flower, you pluck it. Right? If you love a flower, you water it daily.
Exactly.
Right? So, and the same is true with your relationships. Like, you have to give it that space to grow and change and evolve, and not cut it down at its knees.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I'm constantly working on, is like, how can I, you know, remember that this person in front of me is not just my partner.
Exactly.
This is a person with their own world, their own views,
100%.
their own heart, their own aches, their own pains, their own everything, that I might think I have a good handle on, but I've never walked a day in their shoes. I don't actually know what that's been like for them. So I think that helps us to tap a lot more into compassion also, is to remind yourselves, like, I don't actually know what they're going through, or what it is for them.
It's beautiful, and I find that I'm so grateful about that within my relationship with Marco, is that I can say our communication, we have that is one of our strong points. Even if we have a big clash about something, like, we know not to bother one another for the time when the emotions are heated. So then we just part ways for a little bit, we let everything cool down, and then we meet on an equal level again. When it is not reaction, we actually respond to one another. So that, and like, it's not perfect, because I don't believe in perfect. It is, we strive towards listening to one another, and then also showing compassion, and trying not to just speak to be heard, but actually try to listen to what your partner has to say, because you might have said something in a certain way and the intention wasn't there at all, but it was perceived in such a way. And then you are threading the area of, okay, but I didn't mean that. And I apologize that it came across in such a way, but I do acknowledge that it made you feel X, Y, Z. And that, funny enough, is also vice versa very much the case, because it is such a stigma of the whole women are emotional and we are experiencing all of that. But it's like, I know that I sometimes can say something, don't mean it hurtful at all, but I can be very direct sometimes.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, okay, so that was not perceived in the way that I actually meant to bring it across. And then you are trying to unravel the lost in translation.
Yes.
Even if you speak the same language. But
yes.
It is...
That's so funny, because language also came to my mind, is because you guys do not have the same... Well, you both obviously speak English, but you're from the Netherlands. Marco's from South Africa.
Yeah.
And so there is, when you come from two different places in the world, there is that natural, like... I don't want to say it's a barrier, but there's a natural, like... dissonance in the way that you would speak or the way that things come across. So you almost do have to spend more time being, is this what you meant? Is this what you were saying? This is how that made me feel. And there actually does have to be, I think especially in the beginning of a relationship, more time working on that aspect of it, because you're learning this other person and how they mean things. So my partner, as you know, is very humorous and sarcastic, and I'm very highly sensitive, so I tend to take those things at face value, and I will be like ruminating over something he made a passing comment about, and I'll be like, oh my god, like I really didn't think he had a problem with that, and I'm just like so like confused and like why is this bothering him? And then I'll ask him about it later. I'll spend like an hour thinking about it, and I'll ask him about it later. He'd be like, no, I was just joking. And I'm like and you know, so like it's this thing constantly in our relationship, is working on that communication and trying to understand, like, okay, he's living in this reality and I'm living in this reality, and here is also our shared reality. I had a therapist when I was 17, and she would say, you know, 1 + 1 does not mean 2. 1 + 1 is 3. You know, because it's you, it's me, and the relationship. And you know, I think again, if you look at relationship as and then some people will also say 1 + 1 is 1, you know, because then there's that element of like you become one, and that's very much also a twin flame thing, like in union becoming one. And so I think there's so many different lenses to view relationship and to view, you know, even I process all the time about how do I relate to the universe, right? How do I relate to the outer world? How do I relate to myself? And there's just all these different dimensions of relation and how we relate to nature and water and fairies and, you know, everything in our existence. And it's just it's so interesting to me, because essentially it's all extensions of us, right? Like everything is an extension of us, and how you relate to it, I think, says a lot about yourself and where you are in that moment. In fact, it says everything about yourself and where you are in that moment.
Absolutely. I think that is basically it, because now this is a beautiful loop back. If you do the inner work and if you shift the way that you feel on the inside, you will completely shift the way that you perceive the world on the outside.
Yeah, it's 100% true. Yeah, this was a great talk.
I love it. I love it. I think that is also beautiful, that line. Yeah. Loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me on.